I'll lead us in invocation, and I'll ask Commissioner Stevens to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're just thankful for this day, and Father, we just ask your blessings on our community, and we just ask for safety for everyone in our community this day and the weeks ahead. And Father, just be with everyone and just help us show love to each one, and reach out and smile and say thank you. Father, we understand we got problems in our country, and we have supply chain issues and a whole bunch of other things, but we know you're ultimately in control. Help us to be good stewards of the money that we've had provided us by the customers, and help us to bring glory to you. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everyone to the meeting. There's no public comment period. We do need to excuse Commissioner Strickland. He's tied up because of the trial that's going on. So can I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Strickland?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. We'll move to the facilities committee updates. We had 2 committee meetings yesterday, the facilities committee and the finance committee, and I'll give the facilities committee update now. We had a good meeting, and we approved for submission to the full commission the Dunbar Creek Water Pollution Control Facility Design Build Contract Award. That's going to be an interesting job. We're going with that method to speed up the project, and also so we'll know real soon what the total cost is. We'll get into that a little bit more during the presentation of the follow-up items. We talked about the Academy Creek influent VFD replacement. We have 4 pumps that have VFDs on them at Academy Creek, and we're going to be replacing all of those. Those are the influent pumps. The North Mainland Water Loop Engineering Contract Award, that was approved for to present to the full commission for approval, and that's looping some water lines so we don't have dead ends within our system. It'll give us a much more reliable system in the North Mainland portion of the system. Pump station 4044, that's a pump station. It's kind of a little jockey station, but it's over there by Payless, and it needs to be upgraded, and we approved the engineering contract award for that to the firm that's been working with the company who submitted an unsolicited proposal. So they'd already done some work on this. And then we rejected the bids for the Dunbar Creek Aeration Basin repainting because it was substantially over budget. And we'll talk about how we propose to handle that. We had a small infrastructure dedication that we approved. We had a good report on the plant flows. The Academy Creek plant was operating at 58% of capacity. Dunbar was at 78% capacity, and Southport was 29% capacity. All of them were well within the permit. I want to commend all of our staff as far as the operation of the plants. They're doing a good job, and anytime they're in permit all the time, like they almost are, they're to be commended. On the capital project spreadsheet and the reports, we had got shown pictures of 16 different projects that we have ongoing right now. So our staff is pretty busy on those, and the remaining funds to be spent on those is over $23 million. So we are getting things done, and so we're just moving in the right direction. That's my report, and I'd like for Commissioner Duncan to give the Finance Committee report, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Very briefly, we had numerous items also that paralleled the Facilities Committee. Those items were recommended for approval and to pass along to the full commission for review today. So I won't go over those individually. I just want to highlight one thing from our financial report for the month that follows on Chairman's comments. Our construction program now is at, in round numbers, it's $67 million. We have spent some $21 million. We have encumbered approximately $13.5 million, with some $26 million remaining to complete. These are numerous projects in our system that we have approved at this level, and they are all well underway. I think it's pretty significant to have a $67 million construction program going on in a utility of this size, and to be managed very, very well. So that concludes my report, Chairman.
Thank you. We'll move to the approval section of the meeting. First item is minutes from the September 16, 2021 regular meeting. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
Motion to accept.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item 2 is minutes from the September 16, 2021 executive session. Can I have a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Fiscal 2020-2021 financial audit presentation. Ms. Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your read-ahead packets, you have a packet of about 13 pages of slides from Malden and Jenkins, our CPAs. I won't review that packet in full with you today, but I do encourage you, when you have an opportunity to do so, to read through that, because there's some great information in there from our auditors. What I'll do instead is I'll hit the highlights with about 3 slides just to give you the outcome of the audit and just some information about it. Mr. Trey Scott, one of the partners there with Malden and Jenkins, was able to join us for the Finance Committee yesterday, but he did make us aware in advance that he had a scheduling conflict today, so I offered to step in for him and deliver the presentation that he had put together. So bear with me as I use someone else's words. But starting out, Mr. Scott wanted us to know about Malden and Jenkins themselves. They're a CPA firm that was founded in 1920, so they've been in existence for over 100 years. They're based here in Georgia with 12 offices, some of those being located in Savannah, which is the office that Mr. Scott's from. Macon and Atlanta are some of the other offices. They have approximately 550 state and local governments as their clients, and within those are over 100 water and sewer entities. So this is the meat of the report that you want to know. What happened with the audit? Well, just to remind you, Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission is responsible for the financial statements and the information in there. Malden and Jenkins expresses an opinion related to those financial statements as to whether we have presented fairly in all material respects the financial position of the Commission. In addition to their regular audit, they also this year did what we call a single audit report. That was because of the new 2 GFA loans that we have. GFA being federal funding, essentially. We still have reporting standards that we have to meet for those. So there are tests of specific internal controls and compliance related to those that the firm also conducted. What they found was a clean opinion. No findings, no management points. So that's the information that we wanted to hear. When the question was posed to Mr. Scott yesterday at the Finance Committee, how often do you find a clean opinion with no findings and no management no management points? He replied that was about 20 to 25% of the time. So this is not something that occurs regularly, but we were very proud of that fact here as an organization. He stressed that we have a strong balance sheet, a good current year operations, a slight increase in revenue, but a decrease in expenditures, which, Mr. Chairman, goes to the point in your invocation, we are being good stewards of the funds that have been entrusted to us by our ratepayers. We are reinvesting in our system. He noticed that within our financial statements, and that obviously made a strong statement about the Commission itself. You see their required communications. Some of those items included the fact that there were no auditor adjustments required. All of the information that we presented to the auditors was clean. They didn't have to come back after the fact and say, here are some adjusting entries that you need to do because of the audit. We had no difficulties or disagreements between our firm and their firm. The management representations that you will see within the financial statements, they found those to be sufficient, and they once again wanted to stress that they are an independent firm. Then as far as Malden and Jenkins is concerned, they do offer free continuing education, and everyone in this room is eligible to take those classes. They offer those to us free of charge. There are about 30 hours per year of free continuing education that they offer. Mr. Scott has offered his contact information, so any of you who might be interested in those, please let me know. I've taken several of those. I've enjoyed them immensely, and they're quite informative, so I, again, encourage you to take part if that's something that you're interested in. They also have an email newsletter that they periodically send out. Obviously, a lot of hot topics in those. And then he just wanted to say once again, if you had any questions, any concerns, please feel free to reach out to them, and they thanked us for the opportunity to be a part of the audit this year. I'm happy to take questions if there are any.
Chairman, I'd like to offer a motion that we accept the report as presented from Maldens and Jenkins.
I'll second that.
Motion second. Any questions? I just want to recognize Ms. Roberts and also Francis Wilson for the hard work that they did in putting all this together and keeping our ship going in the right direction from a financial standpoint.
Greatly appreciate that. Great leadership starts at the top, and Ms. Wilson has done a tremendous job through this entire audit. She's really been the go-between for us and the auditors, and she's kept us moving and kept it on schedule, and that was incredibly admirable. One other comment that I wanted to add, during this pandemic time, a lot of firms have not been as fortunate as we have to see the good trends that we are, and that was another note that Malden and Jenkins said. They said, not only did you improve over last year, but you improved over last year in these particular conditions. He said, so that's incredibly admirable. So thank you for the support of this board to be able to do that as well.
We have a motion and a second, and we have to present this to the county commission and also the city of Brunswick, right?
We send a copy to the city and the county, and we also file it with the state.
Correct, and there are other firms with whom we also need to file as a result of our debt, whether it's bond or the GFA loans. So yes, sir, we have several.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And just one last comment perhaps is the team has set a high water mark, and I'm sure you'll be able to meet that annually. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the fiscal year 2021 year-end transfer. Mr. Burrs.
Yes, sir. Following up to the audit results, now that we have audited financial statements, we had a net operating revenue just north of $2.1 million last year, following operating revenues and expenses taken from that. Based off of upcoming cash flow needs, staff is comfortable recommending we transfer $1.7 million to three different accounts. The group insurance reserve, due to changes we made in self-funding our insurance, paying down liabilities associated with the pension program, and also transferring money to the repair and replacement reserve for capital projects.
Can I have a motion?
I'll move that the Brunswick-Glynn Sewer Commission authorize the transfer of $300,000 to the group insurance reserve, another $300,000 to the retirement plan, and $1.1 million to the repair and replacement reserve from that operating revenue generated in fiscal year 2021.
Second.
Motion and second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Next item is the Dunbar Creek Water Pollution Control Facility Design Build Contract Award. Mr. Burrs.
Yes, sir. We're looking to do a project out at Dunbar Creek on St. Simon's Island to update many of the processes at that facility, similar to what we're doing currently at Academy Creek. It would be a smaller scale due to the size of the plant. We went out for progressive design build services, where we will be hiring a team of both contractor and engineer, where they can start doing design and construction simultaneously. It gives us more flexibility in the project and also control over the budget, because they do open book pricing. We took proposals from three firms, and the winning firm was BRW Construction Group, LLC, out of Savannah. They are teaming with Hussey Gay Bell and DeYoung Engineers out of Savannah. Hussey Gay Bell did the most recent update to that plant. There is a flow chart there for those of you that may not be familiar with design build projects. Essentially, what we would be awarding today is called Phase 1 services. That is up to 30% design, and at completion of Phase 1, they will provide what is known as a guaranteed maximum price, at which point we can agree to move forward with the remainder of the project or pull back if we can't agree to an acceptable price. So the request today is award Phase 1 services to BRW Construction LLC in the amount of $53,300.
Can I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion, move the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission award a contract for Phase 1 services for the Progressive Design Build Services for Dunbar Creek water pollution control facility rehabilitation to BRW Construction LLC in the amount of $53,300.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions?
What, do we use a typical, like a template contract? Like in our world, we use AI, American Institute of Architects, et cetera.
For design build contract, we use the Design Build Institute's template contracts for,
Just a general template you fill in blank.
right, that's correct.
I'm not sure how it worked with these. What about, so is this a fee and a general conditions contract as well, or is it?
Yes, what they're going to do with the open book pricing, their proposal is to have a overhead fee and then essentially a profit fee incorporated in. That's a 10% overhead and 11% fee percentage on top of that on the open book pricing.
21%?
Yes, sir.
What do you expect the overall contract value to be? When it's all said and done around
$6 to $7 million.
11%, $7 million.
So they're designing what we want, and we decide exactly what we want or not, and then we can back out this Phase 1 contract, that's someone else.
That's correct. If we get through the Phase 1 and get to that guaranteed maximum price and we can't agree on what that price should be, or their price is too high, we can at that point pull back, pay an engineer to finish the design, and then bid it part of our normal processes.
But design build means like that, if we agree to that, then they continue on.
Then they continue on, build it, and the engineering
At
would
that
continue
not to
on
exceed price.
and building. Right, that's correct. We'd have a guaranteed top-end line as we go through the process.
So things like superintendent labor, that type of stuff, is that part of overhead, or is that a line item on the bill as a pass-through, and then
That's part of overhead.
that's included in overhead?
Yes.
One good thing about this, it's not a very difficult project, and it's something that, because of the inflation that we're seeing in equipment price and materials and everything, we wanted to move pretty quick to kind of get as good a price as we get on it. So this way, and in fact, we might end up purchasing, if we approve the 30% design and the fee structure, we might end up pre-purchase the 2 pieces of heavy equipment that's expensive, so those can be coming in. So we'll have the plant finished a year or 2 years ahead of time of what it would normally take.
So I had a few more questions to make. So on the contract itself, did we bid the fee? Did they always put their line?
All 3 proposals provided their fee.
What was the kind of range there on the fee?
The overhead percentage was anywhere from 5 to 10%, and then the fee percentage was anywhere from, overhead was 4 to 10%, and the fee percentage was 5 to 11%.
I guess I'm used to seeing, not
Right.
too much, but more of a 3% fee, on anything from 10 to 15 million.
Right.
Range, you get much more of that, it kind of drops to 2. And a lot of the overhead's kind of inclusive in that amount.
And
One other question, you mentioned some big stuff that we buy up front, or Chairman Turner did. Do we ever utilize, kind of like if we're buying those things, let's buy them directly, so that we avoid the tax?
That's what we would be looking to do. The large equipment, say the filtration equipment and the UV systems, we'd buy that directly, say the sales tax, and then we would just have their labor to install
We at that
included.
point saved overhead, or we still pay them?
Still pay them the overhead for their,
21% just sounds high to me, but
Yesterday in the discussion, one of the things we talked about was the fact that contractors are very leery at this point, because lots of times the prices they get only hold for a week or two. And so they have to be really careful about that. So we may well do much better by pre-purchasing things ourselves.
well, it's still a direct pass-through, so if
Yes.
it's a GMP, it's a, it's
Right.
a guaranteed maximum price, but they're covering themselves, and then they got a
Right.
line item.
Right.
They're line item and all those out, so we're gonna pay them whatever they pay, so if the price goes up, we just pay them more. I'm just saying the 21% markup on top of that, to me, sounds aggressive.
but
Sounds like it was the highest of the bids. If
we
10%.
will have a guaranteed not to exceed number 2 that we'll be working with.
Sure, but it's not a negotiated when it's at the end of the project. It's after Phase 1.
after Phase 1, that's
After
correct.
Phase 1.
My only point is the range was 4 to 10 on one category, and what was the other?
5 to 11.
5 to 11 in the other category, and we got the max on both ranges.
That is correct.
So even if phase one might have been a little cheaper,
That is correct.
phase two
And they all
You're talking
they all
20%.
gave us estimated prices of what it's gonna cost for the whole project too.
you're talking 20% of, $6 million.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
I do
Next,
think we should, before we award a contract, see if we can't negotiate on some of the term.
Okay.
I mean, if they get, after phase one is done.
Yes, sir.
next item is Academy Creek influent VFD replacement. Mr. Burris?
Yes, sir. We have 4 influent pumps at Academy Creek that operate by variable frequency drives. That allows for both speed control and inrush control and ramp down so we don't break check valves. They're 125 horsepower VFDs. We have 2 of them that are inoperable at this point, and the other 2 are nearing the end of their useful life. We requested quotes from outside vendors as well as our plant contractor, who asked the electrical subcontractor. Best value would be to award to an outside contractor of pump and process equipment who will be using Jam Electric as their installer. The replacement of the 425 horsepower VFDs is $91,988. Recommend funding this out of the Academy Creek operating budget instead of the actual project budget to avoid there being any confusion on the GFA funding portion of that, since we're going outside the contract.
I have a motion.
I'll move that the full commission award a contract to pump and process equipment for the replacement of 4 VFDs at Academy Creek Influent Pumping Station in the amount of $91,988.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions?
When we put something like this in, and we're planning on, at some point, put some generator capacity in, we're making sure there's not any overlap or duplication in like what the generator project would do with this would.
Yes, the electrical engineer that's doing the generator project is the one that did the plant project, so he's considered all those.
Motion second. Any other questions? All in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Next item is the North Mainland Water Loop Engineering Contract Award. Mr. Burris?
Yes, sir. We have 3 areas in the North Mainland that are single fed, and this project will allow us to actually have multiple feeds so that if we have a main break, we can valve off a much smaller section. We've had a couple of times at exit 38 where almost the entire exit has had to be valved off because of a main break. This is the engineering for that project. The areas are Hautala Drive to connect Kate Road and Old Jessup, Bailey Road and Old Jessup Road, and then a stub out to Perry Lane Road, and then go under the spur from Millennium Boulevard over to Perry Lane Road. We accepted proposals from 8 engineers after scoring. The highest scoring proposal was 4 Waters Engineering with an average score of 90.7. Total cost for their proposal is $214,000. That includes design, permitting, and on-site inspection.
Can I have a motion?
I move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission award a contract for engineering services to 4 Waters Engineering in the amount of $214,000 for North Mainland Water Loop projects.
I'll second that.
Motion second. Any questions?
What was the delta between them and the low bid?
30,000, I think.
You answer. You satisfied? Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Next item is the Pump Station 4044 Engineering Contract Award. Mr. Klein?
Commissioners, good afternoon. This is a design contract brought before you. This is for Pump Station 4044, which is in the area behind, just a little south of the Mall Alabama connector. We used to call it Payless because it's right there in the formerly Payless Shoes property currently. For some time, the property owner has requested that we see what we can do about moving this station, whatnot. It's also up for upgrade, and that's what we're doing here. We're actually looking at relocating the station a little further to the east onto the adjacent parcel. We've been in communications with the bank there, and they're very anxious to come off their grinder system, which is a private system. And along with that, they're willing to work with us on getting us the parcel to put this new pump station. So Level Engineering, the design firm with the proposal we have here, they're familiar with the project. It was formerly working under a comprehensive agreement with Mainland 1 Apartments. That project was put on a temporary hold, we understand, and so the redesign of the pump station went into a holding pattern. This project was named as a capital project for this year, so we reapproached Level Engineering, knowing they had the background and the knowledge and a little bit of work already done on this station, to provide us with a proposal, and that's what they did. It's a comprehensive design from survey of the new location, helping us obtain the parcel, all of the deed information surveys and that kind of thing, all the way through construction management. So it's a comprehensive cradle-to-grave project here. Geotechnical services, all that comes along with it.
You have a map now?
We do. So we're going to pull up GIS here real quick, and I'll show you where this is. Well, I thought we were.
Tell us what service area this serves.
So, good question. The service area is,
Just go to Google Maps.
yeah, I'm just going to go Google Maps. We'll go low tech here. This service area goes everywhere from the mall area westward, down Altamont, Home Depot, the Books A Million Shopping Center, all that, all the way to the west, to the old dairy area and all that. All that service area comes in through here. This station, just downstream from the station, is Pump Station 4021, which was recently upgraded by the commission last year. Let's see.
You gotta go east.
A little too far here. There we go.
Yep.
So to give you a point of reference, this is Walmart, public shopping center here. I don't know if everybody can see where I was pointing with the pointer. Walmart, public shopping center and whatnot. This is formerly Payless, now it's a Brakes for Less. Existing pump station is right here at the corner, Altamont Connector and Scranton Connector. So what we're looking at doing, and I'll zoom in here a little bit. We have a water and sewer easement that is just offset from the right-of-way from Altamont Connector. This is the existing 4044 pump station, and we're going to relocate it here. This is the bank's property line, pretty much right here. They're giving us a parcel right here that we're going to put a new station.
Do we have that property given to us already?
We do not. We're in the process of obtaining that parcel.
They've agreed in principle to give it to us because they have a grinder station that once the new station was installed, they can gravity straight to that and get off their grinder station.
They're having a lot of issues with their existing grinder station, which is about this area right here. And so that'll go away. The private sewer line comes from the shopping center area, comes through here. It'll be a direct shot right to the new pump station site. Receiving manhole.
Relocation, is it just needs maintenance?
The station needs to be redone, and if we're going to redo it, we don't really have enough property there to expand that at all where it currently is.
You said the private sewer line comes from the shopping center?
That's correct.
It does.
The whole shopping center's on a private sewer line?
That's correct.
At least, yes, sir, the whole shopping center is private. The line that comes here to the bank area comes all the way here from Shane's Rib Shack area. Somewhere in here it splits with the adjoining buildings and then runs through the parking lot, heads it that way. So several commercial entities all share that, and they're all managed by one property association. Actually, Robert Driggers is the property manager for that whole group.
Why was that, those lines never dedicated to us?
They,
Manhole in one of those buildings, so.
yeah,
Manhole in one?
There's a manhole in the Publix. so-
Right, right.
In the public building?
In the Publix?
Yes, so I think that was probably one of the determining factors not to take
I
it.
think if you're in the milk section and you look down at your feet, you
Yes.
probably see it.
My gosh.
So,
And then the other thing we talked about yesterday was where the current pump station is just going to be a manhole.
Right.
So there won't be anything unsightly there for the people, for the business on the corner there.
that's correct. Here, why don't we do this? Show you. You gotta love Google Street View.
There it is.
There it is. There's our pump station. Obviously, pump station had the control panels, vent pipes, all that kind of stuff. So it's been a bit of an eyesore for that.
Picture's a little old,
We're
though.
not doing it because it's not so.
No.
Because it needs.
It needs to be, yes, there's a
Yeah.
condition-based need to redo it.
We tried, we were working originally, the idea is to obtain a parcel from the Payless folks and move it to this area. Never could come to quite an agreement on that. And condition-based, it's already named as a capital project for due to conditions. And at the same time with, now it's an upgrade project as well, capital upgrade, so.
Scroll down where it's going.
Sure. So it's going to go about where these trees and this hedge is. It's a green area. Now, it's kind of tough. I don't know if I can get in the parking lot. But right in this area right here. Right, yes, sir. Property line is this pole right here, and there's a grassed in area that's right here.
Doug, what about moving the electrical? I mean, I can see the manhole being there and we can build a new.
Correct.
How big an issue is moving the electrical?
So all this electrical will be demoed. Since there'll be no pumps or anything inside this manhole anymore, it'll be simply act as a manhole, flush with the ground. So all the existing electrical that you see there, the panels and all that stuff will go away. And all that'll be relocated at the new location.
So it'll come down off of that pole down at the property line and supply us a new electrical supply for that.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It'll be underground service from that
I see
pole.
a transformer on that pole too, so it shouldn't be any kind of issue to get.
Is there an estimate, I mean, what the cost of refurb in place versus relocated?
Well, got lost here. Sorry, I jumped across the,
It actually would be pretty similar because we would have to increase the wet well capacity if we weren't going to use it as a manhole, so we'd have to put a new wet well either way. So it'd be very similar.
What did, to answer this question, what did the Sonic pump station cost?
Sonic pump station costs $450,000.
What do we estimate this is costing?
400. It's a little smaller than the Sonic pump station, so we figured 400 for this one.
This one pumps to the Sonic station?
Pumps to Sonic, yes, sir.
I just want to be sensitive to,
Understand.
we're not saying we're moving it because of an eyesore.
No.
I think that's an eyesore.
it's an ancillary benefit to the property owner.
And the new one will have some fencing around it, is that
That's
correct?
It will.
The new pump station?
Correct, yes, sir.
So that private sewer line, it comes through the bank's property?
It does, yes, sir. It's,
Who has the easement through that?
it's the shopping center, whatever the property owner association, whatnot.
So is the bank part of the shopping center?
They are, yes, sir. They're in agreement together.
So are we purchasing the land from the shopping center or from the bank?
Let me backtrack a little bit. I believe it's from the bank themselves. They just all share the utilities through there. It's its own independent parcel out here for the
But
bank.
they're going to donate the property in exchange for a hookup, is that?
That's our understanding because they're very anxious to get off their.
Apparently,
grinder
their current grinder setup needs some maintenance on it, so we're going gravity and getting off that grinder station is a benefit to them.
Seems like win-win, doesn't it?
Should we make
It's a-
sure
yes,
they're
sir.
gonna do that and have that in hand before we finalize this? Give this,
It's best to, I always prefer to have the property in hand, yes. As part of this design, it's helping us get the property. They're going to do the survey deed and all that kind of thing. So we're utilizing this service contract or this design
Get an
contract.
LOI that's, letter of intent that says, in exchange for A, we're going to give you anywhere from .002 acres to .1 acre or whatever the estimated thing is, that we can figure out the exact.
That's exactly right, Commissioner. And what we'll do is if this is approved and we're moving forward with this project or design, one of the first phone calls I'll be making is to property owners group there and saying, hey, we're ready, we're moving forward. We need to start getting either a letter of agreement or something together and securing the deal on the property exchange, so.
well, should we amend the, they have in the price $5,000 for the boundary and topographic survey and easement plat.
Yes.
Should we amend it and say that that'll be done first and nothing else will be done until the property is acquired? Should we do it that way?
Certainly.
Certainly. That gives a degree of comfort to the commission. We can certainly do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Can I have a motion?
What do you want within the motion to say?
Motion to say that the property survey and property acquisition will occur before any design services are undertaken.
They have those items broken out in
They're
there.
broken out in there already.
Make the motion. I move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission award the contract for engineering services to Lovell Engineering Associates, P.C., in the amount of $71,750,000 for Pump Station 4044 rehab project, including that the property acquisition takes place prior to engineering services progressing for design.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Stevens seconded.
Motion second, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, can I interject something at this point, or do we want to? I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Regarding, not this, but another item.
Okay.
Out at Stately Oaks, Todd, can you pull that up
Certainly.
while you're in these maps? I've had a request to be able to put a gate on the fence that's out there. I guess is it Crispin Boulevard? Put a gate in front of that lift station there that we would have access to, just close off the eyesore, and they would put it up, but leave it accessible to us, put a sign on it, say, you know,
If they want to put the gate up, as long as we can daisy chain our locks in there, I don't foresee that being a problem. We just have to, we would need to get a copy of what they're trying to put up, just to make sure we can get a VATCON through, if necessary, through the opening in the gate.
okay. Can you find the street view of that?
Yes, sir. Let's jump down in here.
I don't know if somebody else has asked y'all about this already. You seem to be pretty familiar, but,
This came up to, I'm trying to think, I think Systems Pumping somebody proposed a question to them. Oh, it was distribution, about a fire hydrant out there is the last thing I heard.
and, it's on Crispin, but I think back up toward 341.
Back towards 341.
Isn't that where that?
Stately, is it Stately Oak subdivision?
It's Stately Oaks subdivision, but that fence, it's part of that fence system, so one side or the other of it.
Where they don't like the way our fence looks?
No, it's not your fence. Maybe they've added a fence since going along there, but anyway, if it's all right to put the gate up, I don't know if I need something in writing from you guys, let them submit it, but I do have a screenshot of it.
Just shoot it to me and contact info.
It is the
Pump station.
water meter.
Okay. That's the hydrant, with the phone call that they got about the hydrant.
Is
As
the
long,
hydrant
like I
we're
said, as long as
talking
we can
about?
daisy chain in our lock, that's not a problem.
Okay.
That it?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Appreciate that interruption.
The next item is leak adjustment, Mr.
There it is.
Burris.
Yes, sir. The University of Georgia's Marine Extension Service had a leak going down to their boat ramp that they did not notice until they got their first bill that was high. So they had a leak that was 12.5 times their normal monthly average and 9.4 times for the second month before they got it corrected. Based off the leak adjustment calculation, $6,040.23. Anything over $2,000 according to ordinance has to come for your approval.
Have a motion?
I'll move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission approve the leak adjustment in the amount of $6,040.23 to the account of Marine Extension Service as presented.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions?
I think which one of these, Andrew, we could just do like a simple, even red letters on top of this, just says, basically, how do we get to this map? And just
What-
probably trying to calculate,
How do you get to what? The,
this is the number.
okay, yes, sir.
I mean, so it's got like usage, I just have a hard time reconciling.
Sure.
It's got the usage 287,005, where that number come from?
That is half the amount that's twice their average.
Okay, and then, so what rate did we apply to that?
We put it in our bill calculator and it goes through the,
So it is only it's applying it to this last 1,000 gallons, basically.
no, sir, we put in, if you had a blank bill and it was 10,000 gallons, we put that in there. And it's just the usage portion of that and not the base fees portion of it.
Isn't that shown on the following page? Right-hand side, adjustment calculations.
Yes, sir. The question is how,
So basically, I mean, we got, that 287 came from somewhere,
right.
and it's not on the page. So the reality is what we did, we took 623 divided by 2.
623 minus 99,560, which is twice the monthly average, halfway down the left side of the page, and divided by 2 is 287.
So we took those numbers, we subtracted something, then we divided it, then we multiplied it to get something. That's A. And then we did the same thing to get B, and we added A and B to C, which is the late fee, to get 6,043. I just think instead of me trying to do it all in my head as we sit here,
Sure.
if we just had, like a little flow on there that says, literally, I took this times this, to get
Yes, sir.
And Andrew, let's add that at least for the finance meeting.
Okay.
Committee meetings too before.
Yes, sir. I'll take care of that.
Okay.
and, we can take a screenshot of it and put it on there and lock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this one I just did the math on, it seems right, but I mean, we've done some before, that we've done small errors on that, to make sure we vote on them.
Yes, sir.
I agree, Commissioner. I've had people come to me and ask me about the same thing, and how do they get to, doing the formula for it. Well, and so I say that's because that's the formula, but we know exactly what, and then actually the resident or the customer knows would be really great.
Yes, sir.
So I'll talk to you later about it too.
So just small notification, the next page over, it shows that total charges were 2,672, right?
That's the water portion.
That's just the water.
And the next page is the sewer portion.
Okay, then that's what, that'd be helpful.
Okay.
Any other questions?
One other question. I realize that we have to have a formula for charging for sewer, and it's a formula that I imagine is standard across the board.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, many of our customers think that is excessive or doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
We understand that, especially when they have a leak. They seem to think that, they didn't flush the toilet that many times,
Right.
But yet there still is a formula for that.
Right, because on a standard residential and most commercial situations, unless you have a separate sewer meter, everything that passes through the water meter is charged to sewer as well, because we have no way to calculate what
Exactly.
didn't get used.
I've always said one of these days we're gonna get a meter to measure sewer as well. One of these days in the future, I'm pretty sure. So, but it's hard for a resident customer to understand that fact.
Sure.
And I don't know whether it should be less for leakage like that, because we know mainly most of the water and not sewer. So the leakage adjustment for sewer should be less because of, I guess, a common known fact that it is not that much. Less than that many times.
Well, the one advantage is with the new meters, we'll be able to call you 24 hours after your leak starts, because we'll get a notification that you've had water running for 24 hours. So in theory, if you jump on it at that point, you shouldn't get to a huge bill because you got 24 hours notice instead of 30 days notice when you
Right.
got your bill in.
Well, I think that's a great point, and that's kind of where I was going to say, I mean, it looks like we're giving these people a lot of money back, or giving ourselves like BGA, but I mean, it's, $6,000, but for those 2 months, they paid over $13,000 water bill.
Right.
They still come out of pocket themselves over $6,000.
They do.
for that
Yes, sir.
2-month error.
Yes, sir.
And, when you look at front page, that's not intuitive. But, I mean, they pay $6,000 extra on what is an average bill of $155 for those 2 months until they were able to scrape it.
That's correct.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Next item is Dunbar Creek Aeration Basin Number 2 bid rejection. Mr. Burrs.
Yes, sir. We received 2 bids to paint the the steel aeration basin at Dunbar Creek. The bids came back just shy of $800,000, which is twice what we expected the bids to come back. Based off of pricing we received for painting the elevated water storage tanks, we expect this to come back between $300,000 and $400,000, and so we are requesting to reject both of these bids and regroup and try again on this before we spend $800,000 painting a steel tank.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission reject all bids for IFB number 22-006 Dunbar Creek Aeration Basin Number 2 painting due to the insufficient funds being allocated for the project.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any questions?
I just want to applaud you for, taking that stance, we put some things out of whack, we should be paying,
Right.
recognizing that, pass it, defer.
Any other questions?
Is it a requirement for us to accept these bids anyhow?
We have to, well, once we put it out for bid, we have to take bids in
Right.
and open them. But you
We
can,
always reject anyhow, right?
we can reject, yes, sir. We can do what is in the best interest of the Joint Water and Sewer Commission. That's in every one of our documents that we put out for bid.
You should be able to reject, why should it come to the full commission to reject it? If it's out of kilter, I'm just trying to
Okay.
figure out why it comes up here this way.
Take a look at
Just a
that.
question.
Sure.
The requirement for us to reject versus he rejected because it's out of balance?
I would think the best practice would be to bring it in front of the commission, because this is for, what is it?
800,000.
Yeah.
All right, I see
800,000,
that, okay.
yeah.
And that amount, I can see that.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Next item is infrastructure dedication. Mr. Klein.
All right, Commissioners, thank you again. This is a simple dedication of water and sewer infrastructure, St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church within the city of Brunswick. Constructed building improvements which required the relocation of existing public water and sewer assets. A little bit less than 300 linear feet of water lines and just a little bit more than 500 linear feet of gravity sewer mains were needed to be relocated as part of their abandonment of Richmond Street, or a section of Richmond Street. So this is the area we're speaking of. Now the new building is not shown at this point in GIS. Glynn County's still updating that. But what they did is they actually joined the 2 buildings, the sanctuary and the other school building over here, and joined them together with the structure. And the city allowed them to abandon the section of Richmond Street. The existing water main that ran through here was abandoned, and they were tied on up here off of Powell Street. And this gravity sewer main was relocated. It actually had sufficient elevations to maintain minimum grades and everything. It was an amazing feat that it worked out that way, but it did. So good thing for us is we got to replace a good segment of 18-inch existing clay sewer with brand new PVC pipe sewer. St. Francis did that at their cost. Joint Water had no cost in this other than inspection services along the way for construction. So this is a dedication of those assets that are now on the ground and functioning.
And they're all in existing easements, existing right-of-way.
Existing right-of-ways, city right-of-ways, yes, sir.
Basically, we're just accepting the new items.
Correct.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. I make a motion that the JWSC Commission accept the above described infrastructure for public ownership.
I'll second that.
Motion second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Move to the discussion section. Item 1, update self-funded health insurance plan.
Good afternoon. As you may remember, in August, we gave you a 9-month update, an overview of how the claims have been running for the first year as a self-funded plan. And at that time, we were projecting around $383,000 in savings from fully funded to self-funded. As of today, when comparing the information from the insurance company and claims and the internal financials from joint water and sewer, we are sitting at around $541,000 in savings for the first year. It could be a little higher than that, but I think that says that this has been successful for the first year. What we do have to be mindful of is, as we all know, many elective surgeries and treatments have been delayed due to COVID. That's going to open up in 2022, so we could see additional claims that could impact this. In addition, we had, just to give you a quick overview, we had 4 claimants over the $50,000 individual stop loss, 7 claimants between $23,000 and $45,000, and 19% of the claims paid were prescription drugs. So that sort of tells us that people are spending a little less time in the hospital, spending a little more on medications, and I think we all know from the commercials that medications are much more expensive than they used to be. So that's just sort of a quick fact of what we're looking at. But overall, we're looking at a significant savings, so $541,000. Now, the claims have been low, and remember that first year with COVID, we may be looking at an artificially low year, and employee contributions, just so you know, are at $410,000. So that's about 22% of the current premium and claims paid, but of course that'll be adjusted if claims are higher. But it does show that the employees are paying a fair share portion of that premium as well. So, and you didn't go up last year, so employees saw no increase. So another win-win, which is a nice thing to hear.
I think it's outstanding, and because the savings was what it was, that just helps to improve our look ahead for experience rating, and because we rate our own experience basically.
Right.
And it's a benefit to our employees going on, even though next year, as you suggest, we could experience more claims because of deferrals, but all indications is we made a good decision on behalf of our employees and also for our ratepayers.
Yes, sir.
I do have a question. Is this, would consider this full 12 months of claims?
So claims are always going to be a little lagging. Right. This number includes all claims paid up until the end of September, but incurred prior to August 1st. So there's always a possibility we could have some additional claims come in October and November if there's an additional lag. But usually it's that 60, 90 days that the bulk of the claims will come in.
So not only are we ahead over $500,000, but we also had no increase. If we had stayed the way we had the other insurance, there's assuredly would have been an increase in the premium.
Yes, sir. That's right.
No question about that.
And that's not even calculated into the savings, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
So we're ahead in many areas. So.
And if we start to see things change next year, we can always adjust those things. We made some decisions to increase the individual stop loss, but not too much. So I think we're in great shape, and the employees are happy about the stability of keeping the same type plans. The health reimbursement accounts that you all set up to try to reduce the individual deductibles, we've only had about 14, 16 people that have participated in that. So that just shows most people are not meeting their deductibles. That being said, of course, we could see an increase next year depending on people accessing health care. But right now, we're good, so we have to look at today.
And
We are
we're
working on
transferring this reserve or holding this reserve in our insurance accounts.
Well,
In the event that claims are higher next year, we've got the buffer.
Well, it's an interesting thing about self-funded. Your savings is just the money you didn't spend, not so much the money that you actually got back. So we're just comparing, should we do what we did or should we do what we're doing? And we're just giving you that comparison. Next year, we're going to be able to compare apples to apples. Right now, it's apples and oranges, but it's still fruit, and we're able to compare it.
We were just
Commissioner-
transferring, how much do we have total in
Would
there?
be just shy of $1 million in that reserve since the transfer's been. What we do, we budget, don't quote me on the exact numbers, it's 1.7 or 1.8 million for insurance in our operating budget. We pay the weekly claims out of the operating budget until last year we didn't get close to hitting that number, but if we got to that number in the operating budget, then we would request to start paying them out of that reserve. So we already budgeted an amount in there, and now that we have a bigger reserve, we might can reduce what we're putting in the budget because we have more buffer in that reserve.
And, you know, the way we run our business, we put it in reserve accounts. We actually would have paid the premium to ourselves in a separate account was where my mind was going.
Yes.
So that,
Yes, in that there is such an account, but what you won't have to do is put that 541,000 in there. So that'll be hopefully 141,000 less than would have been
My simple
budgeted.
explanation for it is the operating budget is your checking account and the reserve is your savings account if
Yeah.
you tap your checking account out.
but good news.
I think it's very encouraging also the utility had some medical people in and offered some screening for employees, which of course helps, if, you know, people are aware of what's going on with themselves. In the long term can reduce costs. So I think everything's very positive here about what the decision was made here.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It was good to hear good news.
Before, my apologies, not saying something earlier, but I really think in general, I think we should revise our meeting agenda thing. If we ever have a guest, we just go ahead and give them on the agenda first, and let them go on their way. I mean, they're welcome to say they want to, but.
Sure.
You know, I know we've a couple times in the meeting said, hey, we'll go ahead and move forward on the agenda. Well, I just do that for everybody, for all meetings, if we've got somebody coming to present, whether it be a bond thing, or
Sure.
a contract award, or just a presentation that we're not voting on. I think we ought to put that up again on the agenda, that way we get people on the fair way.
Yeah.
Janice, you can take care of that, can't you?
If y'all on Jay, if y'all agree.
I think
It's fine.
That's fine. Although Ms. Tindall likes being here, but
I enjoyed every minute.
I'm sure she has other things. Sure she has other work to do, so.
In particular, if they have a long way to drive,
Right.
too.
Sorry.
In particular, if they have a long way to
Yeah,
drive
just in
somewhere.
general, just make that our standard, just, you know, with whoever is our guest, just put them at the front, right after the committee update, or even more.
All right, we'll move to the executive director's update.
Yes, sir. Before next meeting, we'll be receiving bids on the water and sewer extensions to ARCO and the labor to install the force main down the edge of Arnold Road. We're buying pipe outside of that till we have some control on schedule because of supply chain issues, but we're getting labor bids on that. And we're also accepting engineering proposals to convert the fire well that is called the Canal Road Fire Well, but it's on Harry Driggers over to our production facility and put a new ground storage tank in. So we'll have those for your consideration at the next meeting. I'm very pleased to report that the open cut installation of the North Mainland force main is complete and is currently being tested. Well, it may have passed since we've been in the meeting, but I haven't got that note yet. But the drilling rig is also in town, and they are fusing pipe as we speak and fixing to start drilling. So they're making rapid progress on that. We've got about 9,000 feet of that 18,000 installed thus far. And then two really good points here. One, we were recognized again for winning the Water Distribution Gold Award by Georgia Association of Water Professionals. So two of our staff members, Derek Simmons, our water distribution superintendent, and Matt Lane, who is our water production supervisor. He's second in command at water production. They will be going up to the GAWP Fall Conference in November and accepting that award on our behalf. And then I'd like to extend a congratulations to Commissioner Stevens for joining us for 4 more years after being reappointed to our commission last week. So congratulations, sir.
I think it's, I mean, honestly though, I mean, it doesn't say anything for me, but I think it says a lot for a job that all of y'all are doing, that people aren't knocking our doors down to get on here. I mean, kind of out of sight, out of mind, apparently. Mine and 10, I was only out.
You were the best applicant.
Best out. Best out. Best out. But I mean, I do think that says a lot. I mean, I think Ben and I joined, I mean, I think we're a bunch of people.
About eight or nine, I think.
I personally feel like that says that, y'all are on the right track and things are going well, or those people be knocking on doors over there.
Well, and to that point, the room doesn't fill up with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Either coming in to complain and or state opposition to the policies that we,
Absolutely, and that's my point, I think that, that's kind
absolutely.
We get all those by the phone call, so.
Commissioner
But you
Stevens,
must be
is,
satisfied on where they be coming in here to talk to us. So,
my view is good news for the commission at large that you're going to serve another term, so
thank you.
congrats.
The chairman's update, I too want to congratulate our people for winning the gold award this year on the distribution system. We're spending some money on our wastewater system, so we want to start winning those awards too, and hopefully they'll be coming too. And I do want to remind all the commissioners that Christmas luncheon this year is going to be like it used to be, and it's on December 8th at 11:30 at Howard Coffin Park. I'm right, Janice. Isn't that right, Janice?
Yes, sir.
And the commissioners have taken on the assignment of serving the drinks. So any commissioners that show up, we'd like for you to help serve the drinks if you have time to come to the Christmas.
As long as you can pour sweet tea, everybody will be happy.
I was under the impression your second term you got to judge the cake.
Well, I'm not
Well,
sure.
well,
I'm not
no,
sure
no,
we're going to
Miss
have that
Janice
this
is,
year because of
she's in
COVID.
charge of who judges the cakes, so I suggest bribing.
I'm not sure we're going to have the cake tasting this year because of COVID. And that's my update. We do need an executive session for property. Can I have a motion to go in executive session? Second. All in favor? Go down to the
So we're staying here. Okay. I'm so confused. Everything quiet downtown? Oh, man. Seems to have been really quiet so far.
Man, they jumped on me like I was skunk.
Session,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor? We're out of executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
No, we have to,
We have the one property item regarding the sale of the property off of Chapel Crossing Road, and the motion I will offer would be to extend the due diligence on the contract to December 6th of this year.
I second that.
Motion second, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
Motion to adjourn, sir.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? We're adjourned, thank you.